All right, everybody. Sorry about that. We are good to go now. We've got all our technical difficulties finally ironed out. Right now, let's switch back over to the Facebook page we were talking about. As we mentioned before, we went through the different categories. One thing we want to touch on is that all Facebook pages should follow the same formula as far as the name. So what we'd like to do when you're naming your page is to start off with Snowy and then follow that by the name, the town, the neighborhood, the location of where you're located. For example, and we want to home this in as much as possible. So, for example, here in Utah, we do something like Snowy Murray rather than something broader such as Snowy Salt Lake City. And after that, you should be good to get started. Next, we want to go over the page description, and this is where we really want to focus in on the messaging so we'll kind of unify all the different Snowy company pages out there. As you can see in this area right here, next where my pointer's at, we'd start off, say, Snowy, and then, for example, Snowy Murray makes the best shaved ice on earth. Stop by and experience our variety of refreshing flavors today. And then you'll also have the option on that page to include a Twitter account that you have or a Yelp page as well. And this is, if you look through this document, when you do your setup, we've actually included a bunch of screenshots that will show you basically step by step on the screen the different settings that you will need for your page. So where we can see the categories we want to touch on, these are basically as many as you want to include. We're recommending doing a dessert restaurant, again, just because the Snowy business opportunities range from anywhere from a cart to a kiosk to a building all the way up to a bus. So we're just trying to hone in on something that really captures everything. Then below that, we've also included in the marketing packet that we'll send out a profile picture and a cover photo that you guys can use. This is just another way we want to unify everything. Here's a sample of just going through and how you'll add each of those things. The next thing we want to touch on is the About section, which if you click on that, we can get into details as far as really honing in on location, a phone number if you want to list it, and kind of the longer descriptions. So following this process, you'll come up to this page with your page info. Here you'll see you can enter your hours of operation. You can also enter your days of operation, your price range, the types of stuff you offer, parking if that's something you need to address or not, and just different things like that. It's basically just a way for people who are logging on Facebook to say, I'd like to get a snow cone at my shaved ice, my local Snowy stand. Are they open right now? What time is it? Are they open right now? How long will they be open for? And also for new people in the area, can say how much are they charging? When are they open? Is there a place for me to park in the location that they're set up at? And here we can see the general page settings, and this is an important thing. You want to make sure that you have settings set up so that in the tagging ability, for instance, other people can tag themselves in your photos. So if you happen to post a photo of a long line at your Snowy stand and people see it and they happen to be in it, they can tag themselves, which creates more visibility for you. And then the most important thing is, if you're starting off with a new page or you're building an existing one, is to invite friends. And you can see in the setup that we have, it's pretty simple. Across the top on the right-hand side, you'll just go to the Invite Friends function. And from there, you can choose anyone and everyone who is your personal friend and share and send them an invitation. It's also nice when you pull up that screen because you'll be able to see who's been sent an invitation, who likes the page already, and who's been sent the invitation but hasn't accepted or declined it yet. Then that's kind of the meat and potatoes of everything. The next thing we want to get into is, now that you've got the Facebook page set up, what can you really do with it? How can we beat Facebook's EdgeRank algorithm to kind of boost ourselves higher up in news feeds without having to pay advertising fees for that? So the thing we want to focus on is Facebook Insights. And to get to this, you'll go to the top right-hand corner of Facebook, as you can see from the picture. You'll click the little arrow, farthest one over. And this is an important step. You want to make sure that you're using Facebook as your Snowie page rather than your personal Facebook user account. If you're using it as your personal account, you'll be unable to pull up some of the stuff, and also when you're posting, it will post as you as an individual rather than your Snowie page, which will show up differently for fans of you. In that top bar, right underneath the blue bar, we'll go to Insights, and from here, there's really a lot of stuff that you can explore and look at. The overview kind of gives you a summary of your current page traffic, everything you've seen lately, everybody who's accessed your page, and then the other tabs you can really get in depth as far as the number of likes you have, reach, visits, and page visits you can break down between where they're coming from. You could also look in there at demographics, see the age range of people who like your page, different features like that. The one we want to focus on right now is posts. So if you go into posts, it comes up with a nifty feature. There. That's this dark blue line. The light blue line is your weekly average. So anything from Sunday to Saturday, on average, when your fans were online most. And we can see from that that the most active time overall throughout the week was actually at 10 p.m. And this is something that will differ from week to week and page to page as Facebook Insights continues to update it. One important thing to remember with this is that this is when your fans are online. This is not when your fans are on your page specifically. So for instance, on Thursday, we see that we had, there were 50 fans of the page we used as an example online. That doesn't mean that they visited the Snowie page on that day. That just means that they were using Facebook that day, and then below it shows the times when they were most on Facebook. Why this is useful is because we can see the peak times when the most people are online and available to post. So for instance, using this information that we have, a good time to do a post, we can see that 10 a.m. is a high traffic time. We'd like to send our post out between 9:45 and about 9:55, just before that peak happens and we can get ahead of the curve on everyone. The reason for this is when more people are online, obviously there's more of a potential for your post to show up for them. So once we've figured out the time, we can actually go into Facebook and do a scheduling feature. So it's sort of a set it and forget it thing, I guess if you pardon the expression. So what you can do is you can type in your status, get it all set up to whatever you want to say. Then you'll click the clock there in the little left-hand corner, and that will allow you to select a date and time that you want your post to go out. So instead of having to set a reminder on your phone and say, okay, I've got to send this post out at 12:55, for instance, you can go in and say, okay, I've got my post typed out, I've got it scheduled, and I want it to appear at this time when more people are online to see it. Following these steps, you can see it will come up, show you the day of the week, the date and the time that the post will be available, and then also you can go to the activity log to view that and just double check it, and that's where every post that you have scheduled will appear. These are just the steps to get to the activity log. Again, all of this information will be available in the social media marketing packet. And so we can see once we reach the activity log that our post is set, and down here in the light gray we can see the time and date that it's available. Let me just switch out of this for everyone. I'm going to hop back over to the Fuse meeting for a minute, just check out, make sure we're good with everything. Right now, yes, we'll take just a couple of seconds. If anyone has a question, wants to stick that in there to the meeting chat. I know we kind of breezed through that fast for the sake of time, but we don't want to leave anybody behind if there are any questions or anything that anybody has before we move on to the next thing. All right, well, we'll keep monitoring the meeting chat for any questions. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Instagram. And the reason, when we first started working with Aaron at Snowie, I guess to preface that, there's a lot of social media platforms out there, as everyone knows. And one thing, especially for entrepreneurs, small business owners, obviously, is time management. And so while there's a lot of effective social media platforms out there and a lot of cool things that you can do with social media, it's important to remember that social media is marketing. It's what it comes down to is building a relationship and ultimately getting more people to come visit your Snowie stand. So with that being said, we really focused in on what we felt like were the most effective social platforms to kind of establish as a base for Snowie. And the two we chose, obviously Facebook we discussed, still one of the largest, even if they are becoming more of a pay-to-play thing. And the second one, when we chose Instagram, it was because we're following a trend that we see in social media right now, and that is with images. So for instance, right now some social media platforms that are really growing are Pinterest, Instagram, and Snapchat, for instance, and those are all picture-based social medias. So where Facebook and Twitter, it's more of updates and typing in content and text. With the platforms I just mentioned, it's all about the picture and the visuals that you can show to people. So with that being said, here's kind of just a short walkthrough on how to get set up on Instagram. One important thing to note is that Instagram is designed to function on your smartphone. You can go to Instagram.com and you can log in and you can go through and check your feed, you can like pictures, but the only way to actually post pictures or video is through the Instagram app on your phone. And so just as we did with Facebook, with your Snowie business page, we'd like to create kind of a unity so that everyone recognizes that your business is part of the Snowie family. So under usernames, when you sign up, we'd like to do Snowie and then underscore and then the name of the city you're in. And this one we used for an example was Snowie Sample Town. And so you've got up to 30 characters for that if needed. As I mentioned, you can remove the underscore for additional space. You can also consider using abbreviated names, stuff like that. Also in here, because Facebook actually owns Instagram, so when you're setting up your account, you have the option to go in and add Facebook friends the same way that you did to invite them to your page. That's a feature we're going to skip over for right now and kind of go down into the actual setup. So you see, here's the instructions to your setup page. It'll pull up your profile with your name, your username, your website, and your bio. And what these are, if you have a website, you can stick that in there. You can also stick in the URL to another social media account if you prefer that way. Facebook links in a different way, so we won't need to put that in the website there. Your username, we already discussed that. And then under the bio, this is kind of the same as the page description on Facebook. And so scrolling down, we see we've basically tailored them to be the same again, just to create kind of a unity between different Snowie businesses and also the Snowie name as a whole. So you'll see the same as we did on Facebook. Snowie Sample Town makes the best shaved ice on earth. Stop by and experience our refreshing flavors today. And obviously Sample Town would be replaced with wherever your location was. And one thing, as I mentioned before, you can't post things from the Instagram's website, but you can go in and change your account information and other stuff by visiting Instagram.com/accounts/login if it's easier for you to work that way. Now we get kind of into the details of what makes Instagram such a powerful image-based social media. Here's kind of the steps, and actually within the last couple of days, they've actually updated their picture thing, so it will look a little bit differently, but it still functions the same. You'll still have the same filters. Everything still works the same. And I'm going to kind of skip over this just because it's with Instagram and using the different filters and stuff, it's more of an experimental thing. As you can see down here, we've used different filters, different focuses and stuff like that. And that information is all included in here to look at on your own time at your own convenience. what we would like to focus on is once you've got your picture, this on the far right-hand side where I've got my mouse right now is the sharing function. And with the difference between Facebook and Instagram is obviously the length. We'd like to keep it short and sweet, and also using hashtags. Hashtags are a feature that can be used on Facebook. We've found through the different clients that we work with that hashtags on Facebook don't work nearly as well as they do on Twitter and Instagram. On Instagram, they're a must-have. If you want to reach out to people other than those you know, other than people who actually come in and visit and add you on Instagram, you'll need to use hashtags effectively. And so we'll see, with Instagram, there is the option to share the picture and the caption on Facebook, on Twitter, and these other social media accounts that are listed there. With Facebook, and we'll talk about editorial calendars in just a minute, what Aaron does with his Snowie account is he rotates between original content for both Facebook, Instagram, and he also shares Instagram photos to Facebook, but not every photo and not all the time. Just every once in a while, it's just additional content. The reason that we don't always share our Instagram posts to Facebook or Twitter, or the reason that we wouldn't always share our Facebook posts to Twitter or Twitter to Facebook, is because it removes that unique feature for people to join each type of platform. So for instance, if you have an Instagram account set up, but you're always sharing the pictures to Facebook, people are going to say, I don't understand why I need to follow you on Instagram when all the posts that you're putting out are going automatically to my Facebook page anyway. So while it's nice to mix and match sometimes, we like to develop individual content for each one just to create a drive and a reason for people to follow us on different accounts. And right now we'll do just a brief overview of hashtags. As I said before, hashtags are a way to connect with people that don't already know you. They're basically the same as similar to doing a search in Google, for instance. So when you're in Instagram, you can do a search for a hashtag, and they're basically keywords and trends that will appear. And although hashtags are used, as I said, heavily on Twitter and Instagram, they don't connect with each other. So if you're in Instagram and you do a search for hashtag shaved ice, you're only going to pull up those hashtags that appear in Instagram. Anything that uses the hashtag shaved ice in Twitter will only be available if you search for that in Twitter. And hashtags, they're really a lot simpler than sometimes we make it sound. Basically, anything can be hashtagged. You stick the little number symbol in front of it, and then you make sure you don't have any spaces or punctuation. And what it do is you've created the link, you've created the hashtag. So ones that we've used and developed through kind of our messaging and strategy, obviously we want to use hashtag Snowie, hashtag Snowie shaved ice, and we'll get into some more recommended hashtags we have below. And there's a couple of guidelines and things to remember with using hashtags. As I've said before, commas, hyphens, periods, etc., they'll break the hashtag leak. So anything that appears after you include punctuation won't be part of the hashtag. And an easy way to tell is when you post something, the hashtag will appear in a different color. So you'll be able to click on it, and when you click on it, it will show you what it's been hashtagged to. And then another thing, getting into more of the nitty-gritty of the marketing, is on your posts using a variety of hashtags. I know many people have probably seen the Jimmy Kimmel segment making fun of hashtags, and there's obviously, you don't want to overuse them, but at the same time, it's an important tool to be utilized. So with that said, there's really a range of things you can use. Obviously, more specific are Snowie, hashtag Snowie, and then the location of your business. And then some broader ones that will really expand your reach would be something like hashtag shaved ice, hashtag summertime, hashtag TGIF, just different stuff like that. And with Instagram, studies have actually been done, whereas Twitter, you'd want to be in the 3 to 4 range with your hashtags. Instagram, studies have found that people deem it acceptable to use up anywhere in the range of 10 hashtags, sometimes as many as 14. Obviously, you want to temper that and not get carried away and not be including hashtags that aren't relevant just for the sake of including them. But it's okay to have numerous hashtags in the same post. One thing to touch on is that hashtags that are really long, it's hard for people to read. It's all jumbled together, and while we can make out what it says, it's not something that attracts the eye. And as Instagram is an image-based platform, even the text we use, it goes along with how it looks to us and what's appealing and attractive to the eye. So hashtags, the example I use, hashtags that are super long like this, people aren't going to like that. A variety of people probably aren't using those, so you're not going to get any real use out of a hashtag like this. So the shorter, the more concise, the simpler you can make them, the better. And one thing, while we'll go over a guideline of some sample hashtags, one thing that's important to remember is to do a quick search of hashtags before you actually include one. There's a lot of meanings out there for different words and different phrases, and you just want to make sure that you're not using anything out of context or that's already being used by someone in a different way, in a way that could backfire on you. You can do this. If you type in Google just hashtag trackers or stuff like that, you can basically go online and look for the meanings of hashtags. Also in Instagram, you can do a search with the hashtag symbol in front of the word you want to search, and it will pull up all posts available that use that hashtag. With that being said, some of the sample hashtags that Aaron uses here as Snowie headquarters and that we've kind of worked through as good messaging and good content are obviously Snowie, Snowy shaved ice, and one we really like to incorporate is Let It Snowy. And then obviously we want broader ones, as we talked about before, hashtag shaved ice, hashtag summertime. And then another one that's really effective will be snowy flavors. So hashtag tiger's blood, lemon lime. You can get into some of the more specific ones. Hashtag snowy naturals is also one we used. And if this is all kind of a blur and not sinking in, we're actually going to go in and look at what we call an editorial calendar, which is basically how we schedule out social media for the whole month. And you can kind of see how this works in action. Another thing you can do as well, I'm going to pull this up really fast, we'll go to Instagram.com actually right now and look at Snowie, maybe. Let me see if I can go back and not log in. We can kind of see how everything is working in action. So here is the main Snowy Shaved Ice profile. And this, obviously, it's going to look different on your phone. What it shows up here at the top are the different pictures that it's just a collage of recent photos. Down here you can see the number of posts, the followers, and the following. And then we can actually go through and look at each post. So for instance, let's take a look at this one, which was posted on National Strawberries Day. We go into it. When you're using the web browser, you can't click on the hashtags in it, but when you're using it on your phone, you can actually tap those and it will go to the specific hashtag. And so while we are on Instagram, we'll just go to the home function and see if we can do a quick search here without me having to log in, which I don't think it's going to. So I will hurry and log into mine. And we'll take a look at searching for hashtags. Just kidding, I'm not being able to pull up. We can do the same thing, actually. We'll go to the Snowy Shaved Ice Facebook page, take a look at it to kind of talk about what we mean. Here's the Snowy sample page, which I basically used for the marketing packet. You can kind of see everything set up. There's our scheduled post that we sent out. Over here on the left is all our information, location, number, hours and price range, your photos. Reviews will also appear there. That's another important function we mentioned, is making sure you leave the review function available for people. And if we go to the actual Snowy Shaved Ice page, we can kind of see in greater detail how this will all work. So Facebook's hashtags work the same way, they just don't track and they're not used as effectively. So for instance, if we click on Snowy Shaved Ice, in Instagram it would pull up every post ever that had Snowy Shaved Ice in it. But Facebook tries to be smarter than it needs to, and it's only going to show recent posts. as you can see right there. So it's not going to give us the full list, which is why we don't, hashtags can be used on Facebook, but they're not as effective because you can't pull up the whole list over time. You're only getting the most recent clips of information like that. So even when we do a hashtag broader like Memorial Day, we're not going to find as many posts because people haven't used it as lately. These are, so these are recent ones, but this isn't the full list. We're still missing out on stuff. And if one of you did a post right now with hashtag Memorial Day, it probably wouldn't appear to us in this list. And one important thing to remember is, in addition to inviting friends, on Instagram especially, is following recommendations. So to start off, what I use personally in my social media, is kind of a balance between, you want to keep a balance between the number of followers you have and the number of people you're following. So you'll see some accounts, when people see an account that has they're following 2,000 people and yet they only have 30 followers, often it triggers them as spam because there's a lot of accounts out there that function that way, and are used as spam accounts. So you want to have a good following, but you also want to monitor that and kind of balance it between the number of followers you're getting. Obviously, we'd want you to follow the main Snowy Shaved Ice account. Your friends and family are great. People that follow you, it's nice to follow them back. And then if you go through the hashtags, you'll also be able to see the users who are posting similar content to you. Those are also good people to follow. It's all just overall a way to get your account out there more, and in general, at a broader scope, getting your business more notoriety, available and in front of more people. And so included in the social media marketing packet will be a template for one of these editorial calendars. And basically the format we use is, as you can see, the time, if you want to schedule in the time just so you have it written down and you know when you'd like to post. The content, this will be the text. With Instagram, there will always be multimedia, obviously, because you have to have a picture to post. Then over here in Reach, that's more designed for Facebook, but it can be used in Instagram. Here you can type in the number of likes you got, or with Facebook, if you go into Insights, you can see the number of views you got for a post. And then over here, we have a notes column. What we like to do with that is when we are going to post something from Instagram on Facebook, just mention it. So we know kind of where everything is. We don't double post on Facebook when we already have an Instagram post going to it. So for starters, here's just an example of some posts, and you can see that we've used a lot of hashtags for this. So in our content, for the month of June, the Snowy headquarters is featuring the Pina Colada flavor. So we've started off using hashtag Pina Colada, hashtag flavor of the month, Snowy, Shaved Ice, summertime, June. Basically, and it's really, once you've gone through and done a search to ensure you're using appropriate hashtags, it's a good idea and it's effective to get creative on this and kind of think outside the box where you're getting a lot of hashtags that you might not think that people pick up on that would relate back to Snowy Shaved Ice. But in reality, it's a great way to kind of set yourselves apart from competitors who aren't maybe using a variety of hashtags. And we can see in some places we've done a placeholder where we don't know exactly when we would like to post this. We know we want it to be this week. And on average, what we're doing with the Snowy headquarters Instagram is posting about twice a week. And with that number really, I would say twice a week is a minimum, but that number can go up to anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week, maybe even 7 if you want. It's important. The important thing to remember is quality over quantity, which with the internet and Facebook, where you're being constantly bombarded, that's something that might not make sense, but really for your followers, it's important to put out good stuff rather than a number of stuff. So we've focused in on an average of 2 to 3 Instagram posts a week and making those the best they are rather than setting a demand for ourselves and saying, we want to post 7 times a week even if we have nothing to say. It's more important to have something important to say rather than just putting stuff out for the sake of it. And obviously with the editorial calendar, it's really flexible, so you can move stuff around. This week, as you can see, it's a big week. We've got had a lot of stuff going on. The NBA Finals were this week. Today is the start of the World Cup. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th. Saturday is Flag Day. And then Sunday is Father's Day. And so when there's, I know that kind of contradicts what I just said, but it's one effective way to kind of tie in with everything. For instance, today with the World Cup, where that's a huge event. That's the hashtags World Cup and FIFA are going to have tons of content. And that's a great way to kind of piggyback and get onto that and saying, hey, as long as you can tie it in and make it relevant to Snowie. So what we're doing is something, we'll be, showing a shaved ice cup using the hashtags World Cup and FIFA, but also bringing it down to the local level by saying, hashtag Snowie shaved ice, hashtag let it snowy, and then just Snowie. So it's really, we've got a broad and a narrow reach there. So people, soccer fans will be scrolling through that and they'll say, what's this? It's a shaved ice. And they'll look at it. Oh, maybe I'll follow Snowie. They post some cool stuff. And that's the same thing really for all holidays and events. Flag Day, Friday the 13th, different stuff like that. You can really have fun, have a lot of fun tying that in and creating unique ways to kind of associate with these different holidays. The example we showed was National Pick Strawberries Day. And to get pretty much every day of the year, there's some kind of national holiday or event going on. An easy way to look for those is just to do a Google search of national holidays or national days, different stuff like that. And you'll be able to pull up a calendar that says, today is National Lemon Lime Day. And it's like, okay, let's advertise our Lemon Lime Snowies today for that. And as you can see, we get back later in the month to our regular 2 to 3 posting a week. Then we'll just briefly touch over on Facebook. And Facebook is kind of the same situation. We're not recommending using hashtags on Facebook. Obviously, it's an option. It's not a problem. One thing to do is on Facebook, where you have a lot more wiggle room than Instagram, where you can post, in addition to just videos, 15-second videos and pictures, you can also do links to segments and stuff like that. So for instance, here locally, we were featured on Channel 2 and 4. That's something that Aaron would want to post. Anything that links to a broader way of getting your business out there. If you're featured in a local newspaper or anything like that, that's something you want to share on your Facebook page. Not only for friends and family, obviously, to say, hey, this is cool, but just as a broader reach for people to say, I didn't know they were located here, or they'll read the article and I didn't know this thing about this business and stuff like that. Facebook, again, this week is kind of a busy Facebook week for us with all the events going on. We usually focus in on between 3 and 4 posts a week, once again keeping in mind that quality is better than quantity. As we said, it's more important, the whole purpose behind the editorial calendar isn't just to provide content, but it's also to really boost your engagement. And what we mean by that is people who know that they can communicate with your business through social media. They can ask questions about when you're open. They can ask questions about when you're getting new flavors in. They can like their pictures, share them with friends. And really it's a way to add the social aspect of your business. I know it sounds obviously being social media, but it's important to keep that in mind, that that's what social media is for. It's obviously you want to increase the numbers of people coming to your business. You want to sell more Snowies, but at the same time, social media is used to develop that relationship with people that's going to get them coming back for more. Kind of thinking along the lines of, a small town businessman owns a hardware store. He has that relationship with the people coming in. He knows them, and that reciprocates by them telling their friends. For instance, in this case, these guys make great shaved ice. They're friendly. We go there all summer long. If you're looking for a treat one day, this is a great place to stop by. And with that, that's about open this up, I think, now for a few questions, if anybody has anything. But that's kind of our brief view. And switch back. There we go. And as I said before, packets are uploaded on the Teams meeting. They'll be in a Dropbox folder with all the other content you need to get started.
Okay, so there was quite a bit there. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Would you start our first question? But I'll let you.
How popular is Google Plus? Go ahead.
So Google Plus is something. This isn't going to be a very good answer, but it's kind of hard to say. With Google Plus, unlike Facebook, Google is this giant entity outside of their social media platform. So that means that they don't need to make money as much off of advertising the way Facebook does, which is good for us as users because we don't have to pay as much for advertising. We're getting a bigger reach. With that being said, the actual popularity and the numbers of Google Plus are kind of disputed. And what I mean by that is, for instance, I noticed someone over in the meeting talked about using Google Hangouts. The one thing Google uses to increase Google Plus numbers is to comment on YouTube. To use Google Hangouts, you have to have a Google Plus account. So there's going to be a lot of users out there that are signed up for Google Plus, and Google's going to report those numbers as users, but they may only use it for Hangouts and for to comment on YouTube. So it's hard. The actual number of active users compared to total users is different, but in my personal opinion, I believe it's growing. I'm a big fan of it. I don't check it as often as I like, but the way they have their content set up and the way that not only companies but individuals can interact with people, I think it really overshadows Facebook as far as just getting quality content without getting cut out from the brands and pages that you like.
All right. Any other questions?
How do we locate the Dropbox?
I would.
Debbie, it looks like you're talking. I can't hear you. I don't know if you have the ability to text. Unless you weren't talking.
Yes.
Maybe you're singing to it.
How do you locate the Dropbox?
Yeah.
I better turn my down.
Yeah, and when I talk, you're going to be getting it twice. Yeah, Debbie, sorry. We cannot hear you. The only way I think you can communicate to us is if you type. Yeah, you may want to mute your actual speaker, though, as well. And then also, can you guys hear her? She's asking how to locate Dropbox. So, Debbie, can you see the link that I posted? Are you able to see the chat box? Why can they hear her, not us?
It's weird. Let me.
Are there speakers on?
It doesn't show her as talking. Like when you're talking, the little blue lines come up.
Yeah.
But hers, it's not. I
don't see the mic, but okay. Well, obviously, other people can hear her, and I apologize for that. So I put a link out there. You'll need to go to that to really see it. If you wanted to private message me, I don't know if you have the ability to do any of that, but you could also send me your email, and I will send that link there as well. Does everybody see that link that I sent in the chat box? There's a Dropbox, and I put it in a public folder, so you don't even need any credentials to be able to log into it. You should be able to go right to those files. And that was everything that Derek went over today. And Renee just dropped out. And then any other questions for Derek while we have him here?
I would. One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
And just kind of going back to Google Plus, so this is what we're doing right now with Facebook and Instagram is basically designed to carry us through this season. And then in the off season, we've talked about with Aaron, expanding maybe into another social platform that we'd like to introduce to you guys. And we're going to take a good hard look at Google Plus for that, just because of, as we mentioned, the different ways that you can use it and that it's an improvement over Facebook. So that's something to keep an eye out for later this fall.
Yeah, and also I had a question with that. So how, we're asking them to put in Snowie, hashtag Snowie shaved ice. By the way, hashtag Snowie goes to a lot of white cats and white dogs. So that's why we added the logo on that's hashtag Snowie shaved ice. and and we incorporated other ones that we'll all link. But what we would like to do is link everyone together, so all of those photos and everything on Instagram is all gathered in one spot. And that includes all of the photos that we take, all the things that we do, and you can even use those to go and pitch business, because those you can access them. And we also can access yours and see what you guys are doing, and it's fun to be able to see people in the business and doing that. My question for Derek was how it benefits them to be able to do that. And really where I'm going with that is when you guys post stuff and you include us and then we like what you post, obviously there's a mutual benefit there, right?
Right.
When they post and we're able to see it because it pops up on our stuff, then we're able to like and to be able to retweet and send out stuff that their content, which it only helps them, correct?
Right. And that's another thing, and I apologize for not touching as much on that, was that in addition to building relationships with people and with your customers, it's also about building relationships within the Snowie family, so we can help one another to broadcast your content out there to get it to more people. Just really creating that unity inside the company. For instance, if you think of other bigger companies outside of this industry, they're all united in their strategy and their messaging and the way that they approach people, the way they use social media. And this is just a way for us to be able to connect not only with the people who come to your stand every day, but also with different owners in different places, and really be able to build on one another. If you say something that we post and you like, that's a cool concept that they've done, such as, maybe a flavor of the week or a flavor of the month, that's something that we welcome you to use and copy. Social media is really all about kind of taking an idea that someone else has and using it for your own. And so if you want to do that, with one another, with the stuff that we have, by all means, any way that we can use this setup to help people come up with great content and to draw more people into their social media and in turn to their actual Snowie businesses, we're all for that.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions specifically for Derek? And also, if anybody has questions concerning Snowie itself, we always kind of... sorry, I'm going to cut myself off. Steve's asking, should we post short videos? My answer is absolutely yes.
Yes, and I would say the same thing with Instagram. They have a feature where you can post up to 15-second videos, and the same as a photo, you can go in and edit those as far as the filter or the coloring on those. You can include hashtags with those. It works the same way. And videos are really just a nice way. I mean, with a 15-second video, it's not going to take a ton of time, and it's a way that if they're done correctly and done with some kind of thinking behind them, it's a great way that engages people rather than just scrolling through pictures all the time. If you have a short video saying, hey, this is Steve, I'd like you to come out to my local Snowie Shack this week, and it will be buy two, get one free, or anything like that. It's just a way to create a short message, or on the same hand, you can say, we played around with some stuff with Aaron with the new block shaver on how fast they can make Snowies with it, just some cool different stuff like that. Kind of break outside the box of just posting pictures.
Do you have
I believe so.
And just if people wanted to verbalize their questions.
Okay, I think everybody who has audio capability should be able to talk right now. Cool.
Hey, Debbie, will you?
I'm going to mute you.
I muted you.
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
There we go.
We can hear you now. Okay. We may get a bit of him on you, your speaker. Well, actually, we wouldn't be able to.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
We're going to be a mobile unit. I've already done one event that turned out just absolutely awesome. Are there any tips for how we could present? I mean, our bus is painted like a Texas flag, so it's going to be noticed. Is there any other type of display I could use that would enhance our product?
And you're at mobile venues?
Yes.
You may want to mute for now. Okay. I'll mute mine. Okay. So if you're at mobile venues, I mean, what I do a lot is, sorry, I'm getting an echo here. Let's just mute it and then we'll unmute it when they talk back. So really, when you're at, maybe you want to unmute it real quick because I want to ask you a question. Are you talking about being seen at the event, or are you talking about before the event and being considered for different events? Does that make sense?
Being seen before the event and being considered for different events.
Yeah. So number one, in my opinion, when you are chasing events, the best thing that you can do is go and pitch your event with your stand. We've always done that. I've encouraged everybody with Snowie to do that. In fact, I just put up a testimonial on Snowie's website of a guy named Robbie that he couldn't get in. In fact, there was going to be 3 shaved ice in the event, and he went directly to the event headquarters, took his stand there, and said, "Hey, I'd like to be in this event." And they said, "You know what? You're in, and we'll make you exclusive. You'll be the only shaved ice there." Stands make a big, big difference in pitching. If you don't own the equipment yet, we have part of that marketing package I keep talking about. It is a $20 subscription. It's $19.99 a month. It gives you full access to our logo if you're using Snowie's name. Kind of the benefit really to it is, a lot of it is if you're a specific Snowie owner. But there are other things there too that help you manage your business, manage your employees, a bunch of documents, a bunch of agreements, business licenses, business loans, applications, and things like that. Things that we kind of built a bunch of templates for and really went through a lot of work to make it sweet. But a portion of that is a pitching pack. So if you were pitching a location at a storefront, or if you were pitching venues, we've built this pack for you to go out and do that. Now, obviously, Debbie, it doesn't apply to you because yours is different. Well, you called it a bus. Is it a Snowie bus that's painted like a flag, or is it something completely different?
It's an actual old school bus that we reconditioned.
Yeah. No, that's great. And we would love to see pictures of that. So get that thing on Instagram and hashtag Snowie Shaved Ice so we can see it. But, I mean, again, going back, I would use that. And since our materials obviously aren't going to help you, I mean, as far as the visual ones, because the stand doesn't look like it, make professional-looking documents. I'll tell you right now, the business pitching pack that I made is a big 11 by 17 book. So it's not like you go in there with a couple of sheets of paper and say, "Hey, this is what my stuff looks like. I'd like to get in your event." I made a big old glossy 11 by 17 that it's an experience for them to go through. And I did that for the purpose of, man, I want to make this as much like showing up with a stand as possible without having a stand. So there's that. Then the rest of it is for you to get into other events is just accessing the right places. The fact that you already did an event and you did wonderful, talking to everybody else that's at the event, I mean, you become best friends with everybody who's there, and you find out where they're going, and then you move with them. And you also go to your health department. They have a list you can usually buy. Your Chamber of Commerce usually has a list. Now I've turned it kind of into chasing events. But being noticed on top of that is social media. That's kind of the purpose of this. Is social media is a huge and big deal, and a lot of people have barely scratched the surface. And even Snowie, we've focused in so many other areas, and that's a big focus of ours now is to grow this. And Facebook, we've we've exploded. We've grown very, very fast in the last few months. Instagram, we're still trying to grow that, and we do that with your help, and hopefully we cause you to grow tremendously by doing it together. But that's a big deal, and also encouraging people to come back. Give them a reason to come back, and give them a reason to talk about you. Giving out stands are a little bit different. Where my mind was going with that was like, if I'm at a stand and I want everybody, if I'm not doing very well at a stand, like I actually had a stand in Arizona that wasn't doing very well, and so I went to an aquarium that was nearby, and I said, you know what, can I put this sign on your reception desk that says, if you show me the ticket to your aquarium, I'll give you 50 cents off a shaved ice, or I'll give you cream topping for free, or an ice cream scoop for free. Something like that to really draw people to come to it. I don't know if I probably went way overboard in answering the question, or maybe even you were looking for something different.
No, actually, that was just about exactly what I wanted to hear.
Okay, good. Does anybody else have any questions? Mike, I'm sorry. I know Mike just barely showed up to the meeting. We were scheduled for 11 o'clock Mountain Time, and right now it's 12:35. So we went through some difficulties for about 30 minutes, and then got started, and we've gone about an hour since. So if you have any questions, Mike, I think you get the whole chat on the right. We have some documents that Derek prepared about creating your social media. So if you don't see that link, let me know, and I'll repost that again.
No, I should be okay with it.
Okay. Great, thanks. Does anybody else have anything? Any other questions? Also, whatever you guys want to learn, whatever questions you may have, and even if you want to dedicate a whole 30 minutes or an hour to your question, submit that content. Let us know what it is that you want to talk about. It's very easy for us. At the Snowie training that we did, by the way, we're going to be doing another Snowie training in January. We'll be doing those once a year. We're debating on doing them twice a year, but right now we're going to stick with once. So our training for next year will happen in January, and you come out to us, and it's cool. We had a lot of great things happen at that. But with that aside, one of the things that I said in there is we have a curse of knowledge. And what that basically means is we have done this for so long that you start in the back of your mind, you think you're educating people at a basic level, but really you're talking at a level that they don't understand because they haven't experienced what you've experienced. And I want to get away from that. So anything as basic as it is to as elaborate as your question may be, please ask it, and we'll help you through it. Because a lot of times we get to where we assume people know something, and they don't, because they've never done what we've done. Like for instance, I'm 40 years old. I've done shaved ice since I was 8. I forget that the whole world doesn't know about events and going out and doing different venues because it's been my life. So anyway, with that said, any other questions? And if not, I think we'll draw it to a close. But go ahead. Sorry, I'll stop talking for a minute. Okay. I think we'll end it. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for your patience. I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties and hiccups, but I really appreciate you all hanging around. That was wonderful. Thank you. And we'll have this on the web so you can review it and go through all of the things that Derek talked about, and let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Call, email, and we're happy to help. Thanks.